Hey guys, Dr. John Mark Chesney here, and we're going over some tips for knee health and how to improve your knee if you're dealing with some knee pain. So the first one, I'm sitting like this intentionally. One is because I'm going to show you how I'd rather you sit to help avoid some strain on the knee. So if we have our legs crossed a whole lot, it can add some strain to the knee. The knee joint doesn't like when there's tension or rotational forces on it. And even though there's not a whole lot of strain on the knee in this position, if you're sitting like this a whole lot, it can just accumulate, especially if you already have a sore or painful knee or an injury going on. Then sitting like this can just add another stress to the knee that is unnecessary. So one thing to be mindful of is instead just sitting with your feet flat on the ground, just right in front of you without twisting or crossing your legs. The second tip is to note how much water you're drinking. So water, just the simplicity of making sure that you're staying hydrated. So there's a lot of different ways to find the amount of water that you should be drinking. An easy thing that I like to do that can consider all different weight or size of people is consider drinking half your body weight in ounces is a good just check to see if you're hitting that amount each day. Now, granted, if you're sweating more, if you're participating in sports, that's likely going to need to be substantially higher. But if it's a day that you're not exercising vigorously or playing sport, then you should get at least half your weight in ounces for water. All right, guys, I'm going to demonstrate the last three. I'm going to take my shoe off, my sock. So third tip here is your foundation for just your whole body is what's going on here at your feet. So something to consider is how flat are your feet. So right now my foot's relaxed. And one thing that we want to do is that we want to have a strong base or a strong arch. And you can wear arch supports, but what I'd rather do first is see if we can strengthen the arch itself. And so what I'm going to do is an exercise called the short foot, where if you watch me, I'm going to tighten the muscles here in the arch of my foot. And if you watch, you'll see my arch raise, and my foot will literally shorten. So that's what we call it, the short foot, or we'll call it an arch doming exercise. So again, my foot's relaxed, and then I'm going to tighten the arch, and you'll see the arch lift. One thing if you note with my toes is I'm not scrunching my toes down. So I'm just pulling straight back, again, without curling the toes down. So the base of your metatarsal, right here, the part of your foot should stay in contact with the ground. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4, I'm gonna move this chair out of the way. I'm gonna be on the ground right here. So something else to check for is your range of motion in your knees. So it's important to have good range of motion, both bending and straightening. If I had to pick one over the other, we want to definitely make sure that you can fully straighten and extend your knees. So an easy check here is with you laying or sitting there on the floor, something flat, you can see with your legs just relaxed. And it'd be better if I had this shoe off, so it's the heel's not throwing it off. With your legs relaxed, do you have the same amount of space right there behind the bend of your knee? And so I can just get a sense for that, putting my hands underneath. And then I can do one other test is if I tighten my quads, so I'm trying to press even further down and to see, I should have less space. But again, we want to see that is even side to side. If you notice that you have less, you can't fully straighten your knee compared to the other side, then that's something that you want to work on. All right, guys, 5th tip is another range of motion flexibility test to look for. So if you come to a wall, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out a good distance is a fist width, all right? So if I'm measuring out a fist width away from the wall, now this does have a baseboard, and so really I could be a little bit closer. Take that in consideration. It puts my foot out a little further away from the wall with the baseboard. But I'm gonna see, with me keeping my heel on the ground, can I bring my knee to the wall? You can see I can get that distance. So a lot of people with knee pain won't be able to get to the wall. They'll get stuck short. And if you're if that distance is far away from the wall, then that's telling us that you have some sort of restriction down here in your lower leg. Your ankle could be in your calf, so doing a calf stretch. And then you can compare that to the other side. Again, measure out a fist width, so I'm even, and I can see how it is side to side. So if there's a difference between the two, that's gonna throw you off and likely add some more issues to your knee. So guys, there's 5 tips that you can look for and test yourself to help improve your knee health. Thanks.